Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album from Myrkur entitled Spine. This is the fourth full-length studio album from this Danish black metal project helmed and created by one Amelie Brun, who's been kicking around for quite some time as a singer, as a songwriter, and also as a model and an actress long before Myrkur had hit the scene. In the late 2000s going into the early 2010s, for instance, she was a pop singer and a relatively successful one at that. She had written the song for an American reality TV show called Paradise Hotel. She had collaborated with R.A. the Rugged Man and Mark Saunders. As an actress, she appeared in a Lonely Island music video and also apparently a Chanel commercial that was directed by Martin Scorsese. Then from 2011 to 2014, she was the lead singer of an indie pop band called the X-Cops, but being a self-professed black metal girl at heart, decided to finally venture off into the metal realms with Myrkur. And at first, things seemed to be going really well for Myrkur, with a self-titled EP dropping in 2014, an official debut album dropping in 2015, made with the support of members of Mayhem, Ulver, Dodheimsgard, and Arch Enemy. Both of these albums, showcasing a mix of second wave black metal and atmospheric black metal influences, were well received by fans and critics alike, as was her sophomore studio album, Meredrit, released in 2017, which incorporated more gothic rock and dark folk influence in the vein of Chelsea Wolfe, who, come to think of it, was also a collaborator on that record. All the while, Myrkur was touring with big-name black metal and extreme metal acts like Behemoth, Enslaved, Wolves in the Throne Room, but for some reason, there was this really, deep and vocal hatred from Myrkur stemming from the black metal underground. Constant online harassment, a variety of gross, weird, sexist, misogynistic commentary, death threats. Things eventually did calm down a little bit, but I think this is really only because Myrkur ever so briefly stepped away from black metal with 2020's folk sange, instead indulging in a love of traditional Scandinavian folk music and classical. And when I say a little bit, I really do only mean a little bit. In the time that I've been on the Metal Meltdown, I have found that just mentioning Myrkur in any capacity boils the blood of chronically online black metal elitist and gatekeeper types. Clearly undeterred by all of this, though, and also by her own admission, having been inspired by having recently become a mother, and also by having revisited her cultural and musical heritage and roots through the aforementioned folk sange, Amelie keeps on a truck and doing whatever the flying hell she wants at this point with Myrkur on this new album, Spine, which is arguably her prettiest, her brightest, and also her most inspired record to date, bringing together a variety of sounds and textures and emotions from across her discography and meshing it into something genuinely quite beautiful and lush and evocative. That's not to say that this record is perfect. Right off the bat, I will say this thing is almost criminally short, clocking in at 33 minutes long. Considering it's been 6 years since Myrkur has done anything at least semi-metal, and also considering that this is just a generally short album length altogether, I can't help but feel a little bit hungry still. I kind of felt like I just ate a pretty hearty appetizer instead of a really good hearty meal. But that said, I have to concede, that was an excellent appetizer. That was a delicious stuffed calamari with romesco, or perhaps the freshest oysters one could find and crack open with mignonette and cocktail sauce, or I don't know, whatever your favorite appetizer is, whatever you eat when you go out to a restaurant. You get the idea. You have Humans, for instance, which is moody, playful, and genuinely quite contemplative, combining these very angelic, ethereal, multi-layered vocal dynamics and harmonies and leads, with slow-moving, almost shoegazy or post-metal-esque arrangements with slightly distorted rhythm guitar and bass, then transitioning into some more aggressive and more primitive, kind of old-school black metal fury, contrasted with those blossoming, blooming vocals on top. It makes for something genuinely quite beautiful. Then there's My Blood is Gold, a very spacious, skeletal, and epic ballad driven by very dark keyboard work and some of the best vocal work I've heard on any Myrkur record. It's interesting how much weight and power all these dynamics and harmonies and layers add, because Amelie's voice at the end of the day here is actually quite timid and gentle and soft-spoken. This whole thing kind of feels like a tighter, like, Scandinavian take on something I might hear, honest to God, from, like, the last Lingua Ignota record or Ethel Cain. The title track Spine does a great job at combining the classic black metal worship of M with the traditional Scandinavian folk of Folksange. It makes for something genuinely pretty thunderous and powerful and intimate. It kind of feels like a different take on something that Wolves in the Throne Room might do. It's also great to see Myrkur finally, like, truly re-embrace, like, second wave and atmospheric black metal in the vein of the aforementioned M on the following cut, Valkyrie's Song, which is filled with all the haunting, eerie synth and vocal work and all the cold, crushing riffage and percussion that you could possibly want from any black metal number, to be frank, albeit with some more melodic features. Moth-like definitely stands out as being one of the weirdest cuts on the record, combining like dark wave and ambient and synth pop and indie pop and like goth rock. It's a little all over the place, but honestly, I kind of love it. It just has a really unique feel to it. Like, I close my eyes while listening to this song and suddenly I feel like I'm in like a house in the middle of the woods and like I can see the forest through my window, but the room I'm in is lit only by neon and I'm drinking dark red wine. The use of strings and woodwinds and traditional Scandinavian instruments and also synthesizers across the record, how that's all kind of brought together, is really cool as well. It consistently feels like a very organic and spiritual record, even when it leans the heaviest into a lot of those synth and electronic moments. I do think that the guitars could benefit from being a little bit more punchy and crunchy, from having a little bit more oomph and weight and wow. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this record. My only real complaint, I would say, is the fact that this thing is, again, 33 minutes long. Granted, it's pretty versatile and cram-packs a lot of stuff within those 33 minutes, but also, again, 33 minutes long. Like, I'm left a little bit hungry, not gonna lie. I'm feeling a solid 3.5 out of 5 on this. I like how Myrkur was able to bring elements from across her discography into one album and mesh them all pretty seamlessly, while also still introducing some new ideas and elements and concepts. I think it's fair to say that whatever feelings you have about Myrkur going into this album are going to be unchanged upon leaving this album. If you hated them before, you're going to hate them now, and if you loved them before, you're going to love them now. I'm not really sure where Amelie will go with Myrkur from here. A part of me felt that maybe Folksange was the end. This was her just kind of trying something new, and if she did do another Myrkur record, it would be something, again, more in that vein. But whatever it is she does release, if anything else, I'll be paying damn close attention. This was a really cool record. I would say worth the wait overall. 3.5 out of 5. It's a good record. Check it out. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown e-fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.